Welcome to the Happiness and Success After Illinois Tech podcast with the Illinois Tech alumni. We're so happy you're here, and we can't wait for you to be inspired from all these real-life stories of people that attended Illinois Tech, graduated, and found success. No matter your major, your background, or where you're from, success and happiness are possible, and here are the stories to prove it. All right, welcome to this episode, everyone. My guest this week is Sukrit Mishra. Welcome.
My pleasure, Julie. Thank you.
Yeah, and I think over the course of doing this podcast, some people are referred to me and some people I find on my own. Can you remind me how I found you?
Honestly, good question. I mean, this was back in late summer, early fall. I went down one of those LinkedIn rabbit holes, and yeah, I think I found BJ on the career services page or what have you.
Okay.
And that's how I found you. And you know, um, my alma mater or IIT really helped me out right after graduation. I just wanted to pay it back and, give a tip or two to folks who are interested in listening me prattle on. And that's why I decided to reach out to you.
That's awesome. Yeah. So that's I think that's what it was. I think BJ told me about you and he said, he'd be interested in being on it. So I'm happy to talk to you. It's exciting to talk to you. So, okay, when were you at Illinois Tech? And what did you do here? And what did you think you wanted to do after you graduated? So really just kind of you wanted to major in this and then it changed, or you went right in and you did exactly what you planned on doing. Tell me about that.
Absolutely. I mean, it's a long story. I'll try to keep it brief for just for this podcast. But I actually have an international background, came to Chicago back in 2011 as an undergraduate student. I was on the main campus and I decided to pursue chemical engineering. And, I knew what I wanted to do. At least I thought I did back
Mhm.
then, which was basically getting my degree in 4 years, really hustling, becoming a process engineer, working down in the Gulf of Mexico, down in Texas or Louisiana, and actually, having a secure job because engineering pays well. It's a STEM degree, and it was a no-brainer back then. And then, as corny as it sounds, I've told this story many times to other folks. Somewhere in my junior or senior year, we are supposed to take electives. One of the electives I took was to do with environmental science and sustainability. And it just got me interested and got me thinking that, look, that's going mainstream now. By mainstream, I mean sustainability. I want to make a difference. I want to add my expertise in that niche and help out the environment, put my expertise to use for a good purpose. And yeah, once I got done with that, I switched over to my grad program in sustainability science and management. And this is also from Illinois Tech, except I moved on to the downtown campus, which is a Stewart School of Business. And yeah, that's when, I thought I had clarity, but moved on to sustainability. And that was an interesting journey, but I'll get more into that later on. But yeah, it worked out in the grand context of things because I work in solar now, and the last couple of years have been a dream. I couldn't
Wow.
complain.
I
Yeah.
love that it's the one elective. You're like, we have to take an elective. This is why we take electives.
Yeah.
It threw you in a good way, and you were probably just like, I'll just do this one thing to get the credits done or the curriculum, on to the next thing. And it's interesting that it totally changed your path. I love that it changed
Absolutely.
your path. It's unexpected, but it's a nice unexpected. Like, wait a minute, and you're passionate about it. And you're like, I'm going to go this route instead. And you just use the words. Now working in solar, and I love it. It's like, well, that's why you go to school.
Exactly. I mean, I just got lucky, honestly. If you ask most engineering majors in their final few years, um, this is not me being harsh on some of the social sciences and what have you, but most folks just say, you know what, I'm going to take a couple of poli-sci classes or history, get on with it, boost that
Mhm.
GPA. That was not the idea. I mean, I'm also a history geek, but I just wanted to take a couple of environmental science classes, just see what the fuss is all about, and it really got me interested. I wouldn't change it for anything. I think a lot of students go through that in their final few years where they have the moment of crisis or they think they have everything figured out. They don't. And then sometimes they
I
find
know
their calling elsewhere,
they never do. I especially
Yeah.
feel for the students that like get into it and they're like, oh my gosh, this major, I don't think I like it. And I'm like,
No.
well, let's do something about it now. Let's not, if they're freshman or sophomore, I'm like, even if they're senior, like you can either finish and then go on to something else, or you can tweak it right now. You don't have to continue doing something you don't like. Cause I'm like, this is a long road. And if you get the degree in something you don't like and get a job doing something kind of like all of a sudden your life is like, I don't like my life
Mm.
and you're to blame for it because you didn't listen to that intuition or that inkling or whatever it was. So I'm like, listen now, you know what you want to do. Even if it's something that you change your mind, or you think your family's going to be bothered by or whatever, it doesn't matter. You have to live your life. You're the one that's to go to work every day, earn the money, go to school, spend the money, all of that. So you better be sure. And if you're not sure, just keep going towards the things that you're sure about. Like you said, you took this elective, you loved it, so then you kept learning more about it. That's the ticket. If you take something and you hate it, okay, that's off my list. I know that it's not of interest to me whatsoever. And you take that and you learn something new about yourself, and then you go on to the next things. I'm glad that that happened to you, and and that's why I'm doing this podcast so students can see, look, here's what's possible, and you're going to take a winding road for sure. No one ever takes a straight path, and it's okay to change your mind, and it's okay to learn new things and doubt yourself, and then just keep going.
100%. I mean, I don't want to go off on a tangent here, but I wish I had this perspective a decade ago. And I feel like I don't want to like pinpoint a particular point, but it was my sophomore year. The first year is a breeze for most folks. They're taking the general courses, and then you kind of hit a wall for some people.
Yeah.
And I mean, I wish I had a mentor back then. I wish I visited the career services. I wish I didn't cocoon myself in the dorm room and, you know, just asked myself again and again, is it the pressure from the family? Is it because I thought this was my path in high school? No, I wish I just reached out to more folks because a lot of people can relate to this, and sometimes they realize it too late, or they don't want to venture out into the unknown until they're forced to do so. So
Yeah.
I feel you. I completely agree on that point.
They don't want to reach out and they're nervous about it. But then my thing is like, but you just wasted 4 years or 2 years or time, money for sure. Like you wasted all
Mhm.
that. I mean, it's never wasted because it's experience and you learn something about yourself, but you knew early on. It's like in a relationship. If you know early on it's not right, get out. It's not you don't have to stay in and stick with it and see. Sticking with it is I'm all for hard work and I'm all for doing the right thing and I'm all for like, paying your dues kind of thing. But this is different. This is what are you meant to be doing? What's a good fit for you? Are your values aligned with what you're learning? Who are you doing it
Mhm.
for?
Yep.
That's where you need the clarity. And you're right. There's older, wiser people, and even if they're 2 years older, they're 2 years wiser,
That
make
makes a
less
lot of
time mistakes.
difference.
Yeah.
Yeah, sorry to interrupt, Julie, but I
No,
mean, even those couple of years, they make a whole world of difference. But also it's you comparing it to relationships, absolutely. It's like that sunk fallacy syndrome where you've invested so much and you're like, well, I'm getting this financial aid for this. It's supposed to work out. I'm just 2 years away from getting the degree,
hmm
except I'm not happy. So what am I supposed to do here? So, I mean, I have all the perspective now. I just wish someone tapped on my shoulder back then and said, hey, this is good. Is this what you really want to do? Or
Yes.
why don't you consider this or consider plan C? So again, this is me again saying, reach out to folks or reach
Yeah,
out to like some of the alumni. They have a lot of wisdom to share and they've
they
been in your
do.
shoes. They know those struggles.
They
So
do. And
yeah.
to be to elaborate on that point, people want to help you. That's why career services is here. That's why all these support resources are in place at every university mostly has them. But people can't, there's too many people for me to tap on and say, are you good? Are you good? Are you good? We assume you're good unless you're coming to us and asking questions. And it's a small percentage of the university. So I know that there's a lot more people that don't come and just say, I'm just going to put my head down and then I'll look up and breathe when I graduate and then I'll figure out what I want to do. It's like, no, you can be figuring it out now and be a lot happy sooner.
Absolutely. And that's where the concept or that's where the topic of mental health comes in. A lot of folks, sometimes people know when they need help or when they need some guidance. Hey, props to them. They have it figured out.
Right.
Most folks in tech schools, they don't. They don't know these resources are available to them. They show up in orientation, tick off all the boxes, but they don't really, put themselves out there or reach out to folks. And when things get tough, at least for me, I'm just going to open up here, but it was a 4-year program. It didn't quite work out that way. I had to spend an extra year and really grind through that final year. And I had to, get some professional help from the health center and what have you. So a lot of folks, they really cocoon themselves. And that's where, like you said, you're at capacity, you have only limited resources. So it turns into a vicious cycle where there is help on offer, but people don't know how to reach out to them.
Yeah.
So,
I'm glad you brought up
it's
the Health and Wellness Center because that's part of. Also, I tell my sons and all the students I meet, everything that's offered at this university is for you. It's for your health,
Mhm.
mental, it's for your curriculum, it's for your academic, it's for everything. It's for the whole person. And all these services are just, there's people that have been, all these universities, and anyone I can think of, there's people employed there, staff that are waiting, that the whole point of the university is to graduate students and get them on to be healthy and happy and have a great job. And all of the resources are supporting you to do that. And I'm a perfect example. I didn't know any of that when I was in college. I just worked, went to school and finished my degree and put my head down, whatever. I didn't know that there were all these resources. And there's even more now than there were when I was in college, and you too, I'm sure. But it's like they're all waiting to help people and they're all included in the tuition. Nothing we're talking about it costs extra money. It might be a little extra time, but it's there waiting for you for free. And
Mhm.
you can be so much better for it when you use the resources. So I'm glad you brought that up.
Absolutely. I mean, I'm speaking from personal experience, but even now when folks reach out to me who are, in grad school or undergrad, that's one of the things I run by them in our networking sessions or one-on-ones where I'm like, hey, look, I know you're stressed. I know it's tough. It's not supposed to be a cakewalk after graduation. Are you getting the help you need, or do you know that you have these resources on offer? Oftentimes people do know about it and they just assume they don't really need it until it's too late. So, I wish, like I said, someone was there to guide me, or maybe I was just too complacent about that stuff. But
Yeah.
sometimes you learn the hard way and, you walk away wiser.
Yeah,
So,
that's right. Always wiser. That's right.
mhm.
Okay, so is there anything you wish you'd known? Well, you talked a little bit about it already, but something else that you wish you'd known sooner, considering your career or your education? Would you have switched your major earlier had you not taken that, had you taken that elective sooner? Or what do you wish you would have known a little bit earlier?
No, absolutely. I mean, that's a good question. It's something I've introspected on again and again, looking back. Something I wish I had known is, um, look, there is a structured curriculum and there are some courses you're supposed to take off and complete, which is fine. That's to be expected at any university. It's not as rigid as it appears on paper. When you walk into those, admin services, or for me, it was the undergraduate academic affairs, UGAA. I don't know what they're called now. I remember who was that gentleman, Gregory Welter. I mean, he was fantastic to me. But just reaching out to folks and letting them know what your plan is, what you want to do, and what kind of assistance you need. You'd be surprised how a lot of staffers are there to accommodate your journey at IIT or any other school and assist you. Sometimes you're on the border of some course in terms of passing or getting a good grade, or sometimes you're just stuck and you don't know how to go forward. I wish someone was there to tell me, or I wish I knew that not everything's so set in stone. The college experience is what you make of it. And, you know, something I've learned over time, not just in college, but also in real life beyond that is, you know, talk. Have those social skills or reach out to people, let them know what you're looking at, what kind of assistance you need, and explore some solutions. School's not supposed to be so rigid. There are a lot of possibilities. There's a reason you're paying the tuition. There are people there over there to help you. So I feel like I'm repeating this, but
Yeah, no,
just open up, reach out to folks, be vulnerable when it really matters, and you'd be surprised how accommodating and helpful some people are. At least that's
I
what I saw
agree.
in my junior and senior years in undergrad. So
Yeah, I
yeah.
agree. You're right. Not everything's set in stone. And even though obviously there's a curriculum, there's a program designed in place for you to get to your goal in 4 years or 2 years or graduate, undergraduate, whatever it is.
Mhm.
But things will change, and there are experts in all of those areas to say to you, "Oh, it's just one class." Even when I was an undergrad, I was a marketing major, and I was really doing well in economics, which I hated in high school. And my economics professor, I was acing every class, and he's like, "You're doing really well." And my academic advisor was like, "It's only just two more classes in economics for you to have a double major." And I was like, "It is? Oh." And it had that person not said that to me, and I wasn't doing so well in economics, I would have never known that. It's like, so now I have this dual degree for just two more classes. And it's those people that shine lights on things that you thought you knew. Of course, you don't know everything. But those are the people that's why you go and ask those people, I have this, but I'm thinking about adding a major, or I don't really like this anymore. Can I do something else? Oh yeah, just don't take this class, take this elective instead. And although I'm not an academic advisor, my sons are in college, and so I know that this is what happens. And I always go back to them and say, go ask questions, go to the experts and see what's possible. Because you brought it up, there are a lot more possibilities than you realize. It doesn't have to be
Mhm.
so rigid, and they want you to graduate with the degree that you're really going to use and love, and it's going to help you get the job you want. So it benefits them too for you to be, successful and happy.
No, absolutely. I mean, just elaborating on that even more. I have cousins now who are going through that high school and college experience. And this is me just speculating based on an anecdotal experience. It starts from high school. The relationship you have with your counselor and what have you goes into college.
Mhm.
A lot of folks, I'm looking back at my high school in Bangkok, and I used to be forced by my dad, or he used to prod me like, just their door is open. Stop by. Talk about colleges in the United States and Canada, or look elsewhere. Look at the financial aid package. Just talk. That's what you're paying for. And for me, it was like pulling nails because I'm like, no, no, I've read the college guide from Fisk's. I know exactly what I'm doing. Don't tell me what to do. And unfortunately, I carried that attitude into college where I was like, I'm book smart. I've got it figured out until I didn't, until the courses got harder than the AP and IB classes I was taking. And I was like, I'm just going to figure this out the old fashioned way, keep my head down. It doesn't work that way. The real world doesn't work that way. And sometimes you just have to remind folks who are in, high school or college that, there is that book or whatever you're focusing on, and there's that practical experience. Put yourself out there, talk to people, you're going to come up with solutions, and it's going to serve you really well when you're job searching. So,
Yes, because you have to do that for the rest of your career. I tell students, I'm like, get used to asking questions and being uncomfortable because you're gonna have to do it forever. But I like what you said about the asking questions because I also encourage them if I don't give you the right answer, I don't give you the thing that you want, or I don't give you the feedback you want, go to another career coach. They might say something that's going to spark another idea for you, or it's going to land for you differently. It's just, just think back to teachers in high school and college. Some of them you relate to, some of them you don't. You can't get through whatever it is. There's always going to be people that it's just one thing you said, one phrase, whatever it is, but you don't get the answer you want from someone, and or they're like, I don't think you can. It's like, well, think or for sure think. Okay, well, I'm going to go to someone who is the expert. Who else can help me? Is there someone else I can go to? If you can tell me, who else can? And maybe they don't want to help you or they can't. It's up to you to go find the next person, or go to. I always say, go to someone you respect and admire, or someone who's doing the thing you want to do. So if you're a freshman, go ask a senior who's about to graduate with their degree, whatever. How did you do this? They're probably going to have a couple of different answers for you, but at least the
mhm.
adults around you, the staff, the faculty, they've been around a long time. And even if they haven't, they probably came from somewhere else where they have knowledge about a different, that industry or different school. And these are, like you said, these are resources, right? Why would you not ask them? And they want to help you. They want you to be successful. They don't want you to be struggling. I mean, you have to work hard or whatever, but if you don't get what you need right away, keep asking. That's my main point.
And that's fine. I mean, there are going to be instances where you reach out to people, it's not a productive discussion, and you don't get the help you need, and that's okay. You move on. They might send you to another person, and that's how you end up landing a few leads who, really assist you in your job search or any other facet of your academia. Um, I guess I wasn't resilient enough in that area where I was like, oh, it's like a to-do list. I'm going to reach out to a couple of people. I've done my job for the day, and it doesn't work that way. Sometimes you really have to keep your head down, make a lot of efforts, especially now after the pandemic. And you know, you only get lucky based on how much effort you expend. So that's
Yeah,
also
that's why
something I've learned
I
the
don't
hard
like
way.
that word luck, because it's really, you had said like you got lucky. It's like, no, you're asking questions and doing the right thing and you're meeting people and reaching out, and luck favors are prepared is the same, but it really is not.
Yep.
It's not like, whoops, oh, look what happened to me. Luck is like a prize, and no, something you won on a radio station or something, like that's lucky,
Right.
but you still had to make the call. You still had to do the something.
Hmm.
So yeah, luck favors are prepared for sure.
I
Okay,
hear
one
you.
final
Yeah,
question for you. What's the
absolutely.
best piece of advice you can offer college students or people looking to start their career, or maybe they just started their career and they're not sure if they want to make a change? What would you say to them?
Yeah, I don't have one clear answer there. I'm just going to break this out into a couple of segments. Again, this is me drawing on my own experience. Number one is do your research. Um, when you get into college, yes, there's that college experience. Yes, there's that workload, and I know it gets rigorous, but do your research on the industry, the resources out there outside the dorms and what have you. Um, just spend some time speaking to industry professionals from as early as your time in college as possible. One of the regrets I had was, we used to have one career fair once every semester. And I'm going to be honest, a decade ago, most of the jobs or most of the organizations that showed up were focused around tech. And that's still the case. Doesn't mean there are not no opportunities in chemical engineering or sustainability. Had I started earlier, had I done some research, had I dropped some, DMs or reached out to folks, I would have had more clarity. And had I had more clarity, it would have led to less anxiety as I was nearing graduation. Because I had this complacency where I was like, do I know what I want to do after 4 years after graduation? Not quite, but I'll figure it out. And I had this, I wouldn't say arrogance, but I just took it for granted where I just said, it's fine. When I graduate and move out of the dorms, it's the next step. I'll apply to jobs. I'll upload my resume on those websites. And hey, I have a STEM background. Who doesn't want me? Turns out it was quite a lot of people overlooked me initially because I did not have much experience. So that's my first piece of advice. Get started as early as possible, do your research. Number two, something that really helped me during grad school was get a mentor or get an industry professional or someone either in the walls of the university or outside, just to guide you through the whole process. I got lucky when I was at the Stewart School of Business. I think it was someone on the advisory board who was linked to me as a mentor. And I mean, bless her, she was brilliant. I'm not sure if she wants me to drop her name here, but I'll just keep it anonymous. But she was great. She gave me a lowdown on sustainability, ESG, what to watch out for, what are some rabbit holes to avoid. And this is stuff you don't get on Google or, online. This is a lot of wisdom and industrial experience you get after 2 or 3 decades in the industry. So that's another advice I would have. Reach out to the career center. Go on LinkedIn, don't be shy, drop some DMs, provide some context, let them know what you can offer and ask them what they can help with. It doesn't have to be a one-way thing where it's just a transaction. Add that human value and just let them know that, hey, look, I'm just starting out. Can you help me out? And trust me, there are a lot of people who are willing to grab a coffee. You live in Chicago, make the best of it, honestly. So that would be my second advice. And number three, resilience. That's something I've learned the hard way. I've been working in solar. I work for a nonprofit for some context in Washington, D.C. But I got this gig during the pandemic and it was tough. Um, I was job hunting during the pandemic. I was laid off from my previous gig during the pandemic. Wasn't a pleasant experience. Um, the world's not fair. I mean, you would expect, at least this is what happens in college, that if you put so and so much effort into the gig, you're going to get so much of a reward or something out of it. Doesn't work that way always. I mean, I still have this Excel sheet of all my job applications. I applied to like 300 or 400 plus places during the pandemic. It wasn't easy. Like you said earlier, fortune favors the brave. With this organization, they're called Solar United Neighbors. I just put myself out there, reached out to as many people as I could at the organization via LinkedIn and Glassdoor and Idealist. And I somehow got a fellowship, made my way up, and I'm a director now. So something I've learned the hard way, be resilient. There are going to be a lots of ups and downs. It's a cliche, I know, but just be ready for that. So it's a lot of mental conditioning. Be tough, put yourself out there, be ready for rejections. It will serve you well in the long term. So I know I went on for quite a bit, but those are my three big
No,
advices.
I love you brought up resilience. I have a book. I have a book, and that's an entire chapter is about resilience
Okay.
and how important it is, and it's because it's a mindset, and it's you were talking about persevering. You 300 applications, you didn't give up. You didn't just say, all right, it's 200. I don't have a job now. Now you're never going to have one if you stop. You can't give up. You have to persevere. It might take you longer than you thought. You're going to learn a lot along the way, and you will eventually get what you want. You're sometimes you just have to be more patient, and that's a lesson in itself. And like you said, had you had maybe started earlier or built better connections before the pandemic, I'm just going back to what you're saying about college, like doing stuff earlier, when you do need them, they're there. You don't have to hurry up. We tell us to students all the time, don't come to me second semester of senior year and be like, okay, I'm ready to get a job. Where's your resume? Where's your LinkedIn profile? Now you have to scramble to hurry up and do everything that other people have been doing for 3 or 4 years. They have a bigger network. They have the resumes great. Their LinkedIn, everything's good. Now they just have to go get the job they want. Instead of when they come to us last minute, they have to work on everything. And now they're desperate and now they're nervous and I get it, but I'm like, there's no reason you have to wait because it's so easy to be on there. I mean, back in the day when I was in college, we had to send letters. I had to wait for people to email me or send a letter back saying I did or didn't get their job. Now it's like all you have to do is get on LinkedIn and start connecting with people. And especially now with the alumni and all the people you can find that went to Illinois Tech and that would be happy to help you and excited to help you. I mean, there's so many more resources now, but you don't want to wait till you're desperate or wait till you're scrambling because that's the worst time to be asking. And that energy doesn't really get you what you want very easily.
Absolutely. And, just before we wrap this up, but just one final point on all this stuff. I mean, speaking with someone with an international experience or that international visa, there's that added complexity to the whole experience.
Mhm.
Even now, when I talk to folks from IIT who are recent graduates, I've been in those shoes. I'm not going to judge them for not being more proactive because I made the same mistake. Great candidates, great resume, really sincere. The networking is going great. And then I asked them, so what have you been doing, even prior to graduating? And they said, oh no, I was, busy with the coursework and, the finals week, it was insane. I'm like, yeah, but what have you been up to? Did you do your homework? Did you put the work in? Not quite. And they usually come in panic-stricken, anxious, where they're like, well, I'm on the clock and I got 40 days to find a job before I have to leave the country. And, I have a great profile. If you could just buy me time and do this and this. I'm like, yeah, I mean, I can try and help you, but you got to put some work in. You got to do some homework. And that starts the moment you check into the dorms and you're settled in. Great. You're attending the classes, but it's not so structured like high school anymore. College is what you make of it. So the more you put into it and the more you put yourself out there, the more folks that will be reaching out to you even before graduation. So that's something I keep drumming down. I keep talking about on this podcast, but even out there, just be proactive and put a lot of effort into this from day one.
Day one. I love that. That's what they need to know. Day one. Yes.
Absolutely.
Okay. So how can people get a hold of you or want to share any information or?
Absolutely. I mean, I don't have it here directly, but I can share it with you right after this. I'm on LinkedIn. You can find me on Solar United Neighbors staffers page. I mean, we run a lot of solar programs, so that's where most folks find me from IIT. And I am working on my own website, but that's still in progress. It's been in progress for quite a while, so I'll stop talking about that. But LinkedIn and Solar United's webpage, I'll be happy to share with you right after this.
Awesome. Thanks, Sukrit. Nice to meet you.
My pleasure. Thank you, Julie.
All right. I know it's going to be helpful for a lot of people, so I appreciate you taking the time. And it was really nice talking with you.
Likewise. Thank you.
Bye, everyone. Thanks for listening, everyone. Check out the Illinois Tech Connect platform. It's the official networking site for Illinois Tech alumni. It's operated by Illinois Institute of Technology Alumni Association with help from Career Services. The aim of the platform is to connect our entire alumni community to provide a space for communication, networking, and other opportunities. Also, join the Illinois Tech Career Services group on LinkedIn and learn about all things career-related. And be sure to follow us on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. Finally, as an alum, whenever you need career guidance or advice, you're always welcome to connect to the Career Services Department, make an appointment with a career coach, and take advantage of this lifelong resource available to all alumni. We can't wait to help you, and more importantly, we can't wait to see what you do.